For the past several weeks, demonstrators have routinely gathered outside of Tesla stores across the Portland metro and the country.
Canadians are joining a wave of Tesla takedown protests happening across the U.S. and parts of Europe.
Public support is very much on side with our message.
Tesla's relationship with Canada has taken a sharp turn. What started as a social media jab by Elon Musk has spiraled into protests, vandalism, and a government crackdown. With his companies facing serious backlash, Musk now finds himself in a heated battle over his Canadian citizenship. The tensions are escalating fast, and no one seems to know where it will end. How will Musk handle the fallout? Will Tesla survive this storm in Canada? Join us as we look into how Elon Musk collapsed in court after Canada banned Tesla. Canada turns its back on Tesla. Something strange is happening between Canada and one of the world's most famous tech giants. Tesla is now facing the heat up north, and Elon Musk is right in the middle of the chaos. Canada has pulled the plug on Tesla's access to government support, and things have quickly gone from bad to worse. It all started when Musk took a jab at the country on social media, calling Canada not a real country. The comment didn't sit well with many. Frustration boiled over, and soon after, Tesla cars and showrooms became targets. In Hamilton, Ontario alone, over 80 Teslas were left with slashed tires and scratched exteriors. Similar scenes unfolded in other Canadian cities. What led to this dramatic fallout? And what does it mean for Tesla moving forward? Stay tuned. The most interesting part is still ahead. The outrage was about more than just Musk's words. The city of Hamilton has long been known for its steel industry, which has been caught in trade disputes between Canada and the U.S. These tensions increased after U.S. tariffs on Canadian products led to Canada's own retaliatory measures. Many Canadians feel that Musk, a known Trump ally, supports policies that hurt Canadian workers. That frustration exploded into public protests. In Montreal, climate activists took things further. They covered a Tesla dealership in pink paint, accusing Musk of supporting anti-democracy ideas and ignoring climate concerns. 2 people were arrested during the protest. Meanwhile, in another serious blow to Musk's business in Canada, the province of Ontario canceled a massive $70 million contract with Musk's Starlink company. The move was clearly a part of the wider government pushback against Musk's growing influence. Public pressure kept growing. Elon's critics believe that his companies, especially Tesla, are benefiting unfairly while ignoring Canadian values and interests. Tesla sales in Canada had already been on a decline for months. A large number of Canadians began turning away from the brand, partly due to Musk's growing role in the Trump administration and his open disrespect for Canadian sovereignty. But a new scandal has made things even worse. Just before a government rebate program was set to end, 4 Tesla-owned dealerships in Canada claimed to have sold over 8,600 vehicles in a single weekend in January. That number raised eyebrows. The sales figures were enough for Tesla to request 43 million Canadian dollars, roughly $30 million, in government subsidies under the now-expired electric vehicle program. The math raised serious concerns. Selling 2 cars per minute over a 72-hour weekend, as these reports suggest, would have meant that the dealerships stayed open around the clock and had thousands of vehicles in stock. It just didn't add up. Canadian officials froze the payments immediately and launched an investigation. After Mark Carney became the new Prime Minister, he appointed Chrystia Freeland as the new Transport Minister. Freeland ordered that each subsidy claim from Tesla be thoroughly reviewed before any money was released. She made it clear that no further payments would be approved until the government could confirm the legitimacy of every transaction.
An example of a measure that I will put in place as Prime Minister is 100% tariffs on Teslas. I think that should get some attention in the White House.
She also pointed to the ongoing trade issues and said Tesla would be excluded from any future subsidy programs as long as the U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods remained in place. Tesla's sales spike caused the rebate program to run out of funds nearly 3 months early. It ended on January 12th, leaving hundreds of other dealerships in a tough spot. According to the Canadian Automobile Dealers Association, the early end meant around 225 dealerships couldn't claim roughly $10 million in rebates they were counting on. That put many of them in serious financial trouble. The Dealers Association, represented by spokesman Hugh Williams, said the figures just didn't make sense.
That not every showroom in Canada and the US will look identical as they have over the last 10 years. So as we manage this crisis, there'll certainly be changes on both sides of the border to reflect the tariffs that have been put in place.
He questioned how Tesla knew the exact amount needed to drain the rebate fund. Williams also mentioned that the volume of vehicles supposedly sold didn't match Tesla's past sales trends, and said the 4 dealerships couldn't possibly have had that many cars ready to go. While Tesla stayed silent and didn't respond to media questions, many believe the company manipulated the system. Some dealers hold on to sales paperwork before submitting claims. But what happened with Tesla didn't follow any known pattern. The whole situation added more fuel to the fire. The government has promised to reimburse the other dealers eventually, but no timeline has been given. For now, smaller players are left struggling while Tesla is being investigated. What really pushed things over the edge, though, is how closely Elon Musk has aligned himself with former US President Donald Trump, who has angered many Canadians by suggesting that Canada should become America's 51st state. Trump's remarks about annexing Canada have been widely condemned, and Musk's open support for those ideas has made things worse. Tesla has become a symbol of foreign interference and disrespect for Canadian independence. The push to strip Musk of his Canadian citizenship. As public outrage grew, an online petition to remove Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship quickly went viral. More than 376,000 Canadians signed the parliamentary petition, accusing Musk of working against Canada's interests, and that Musk's strong ties to Trump and his influence over American politics have become dangerous for Canada. The petition was created by a British Columbia writer named Qualia Reid. It was backed in the House of Commons by Charlie Angus, a member of Parliament and well-known critic of Musk. Elon Musk, who was born in South Africa, holds Canadian citizenship through his mother, May Musk. She is a model and dietitian from Regina, the capital of Saskatchewan. Musk once lived in Canada before moving to the US, where he now leads companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and X, formerly Twitter. What will be the outcome of these actions? Will Elon Musk lose his Canadian citizenship? Brace yourself. What you're about to hear will blow your mind. Reid's petition says Musk has acted like an advisor to Trump and has pushed for extreme tariffs and made public statements about taking over Canada, even jokingly calling Justin Trudeau a governor, as if he were already under US control. In January, Musk posted on X celebrating Trudeau's announcement that he would resign, and even promoted videos of Canadian Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Under Canadian law, citizenship can be revoked in certain situations, like fraud, misrepresentation, or if someone actively works against the country's interests. People can also voluntarily give up their citizenship. If citizenship is revoked, the person must wait 10 years before reapplying. Reid's petition pushes for Musk's immediate removal, claiming that he now acts as a member of a foreign government that's trying to destroy Canadian sovereignty. The petition was filed on February 20th and is set to stay open until June 20th. As of now, it has already gathered well beyond the required number of signatures needed for Parliament to consider it. The House of Commons is scheduled to return to session on March 24th, unless a general election is called before then. It's unclear how the government will respond, but the sheer number of signatures shows how widespread the frustration has become. Meanwhile, vandalism against Tesla hasn't stopped. The attacks in Hamilton were just one part of a wider trend. In Montreal, pink paint was splashed all over a Tesla outlet. In Vancouver, an upcoming auto show banned Tesla from participating over fears of protests and more damage. The backlash isn't limited to regular citizens either. governments are stepping in to take action. 4 provinces in Canada have already removed Tesla from their rebate programs this year.
Canada is freezing rebate payments for Tesla under its new program.
Tesla is now facing serious hurdles just to operate in the country, and other car makers are taking advantage of the situation. Polestar, a Swedish brand controlled by a Chinese company, has offered a $5,000 Canadian dollar discount to Tesla owners in Canada who switch over. It's a smart move, using public anger to grab market share. Elon Musk's problems in the US. Elon Musk's problems aren't just across the ocean, they're right at home too. In fact, the backlash he's facing in America might be even louder than what's happening in Canada. Since returning to a more public role under Trump's second presidency, Musk has become a lightning rod for criticism. He was tapped to lead a department aimed at shrinking the US federal government, officially called the Department of Government Efficiency, but most people just call it DOGE. The results are job cuts for hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Employees from the IRS, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and even the National Park Service felt the blow. What was meant to look like a bold move quickly turned into something many people saw as reckless and harmful. How bad did it get? Could this be Musk's biggest misstep yet? You're on the edge of your seat, and it's about to get even better. At a conservative conference in Maryland, Musk made things worse. He actually waved a giant chainsaw on stage and joked about his role in slashing government services. Not exactly the kind of humor that comforts laid-off workers. Then he reposted a message on X saying, "Of course we support DOGE. Those who don't support it are un-American." To many, that crossed a line from quirky billionaire to full-blown provocateur. Behind closed doors, it's not much better. Senior officials have complained about Musk's behavior in high-level meetings. Sources quoted by Rolling Stone say cabinet members often describe him as irritating and hard to deal with. He's known for making off-color jokes, speaking in a dismissive tone, and always trying to one-up others intellectually. One official even said being around Musk was like listening to rusty nails on a chalkboard. And the concern goes deeper than just being annoying. There are whispers, serious ones, about Musk's state of mind in meetings. Some have suggested he looked high during government discussions. This led to internal conversations about potential drug use, although Musk and his legal team have firmly denied any wrongdoing. A Wall Street Journal article alleged that Musk used substances like LSD, ecstasy, and mushrooms. Musk has pushed back, saying the only drug he uses is prescribed ketamine to manage depression. His attorney added that Musk regularly undergoes random drug testing at SpaceX and has never failed a single test. Still, the rumors won't go away. Inside the White House, some aides have even joked that maybe everyone in federal service, including Musk, should start getting drug tested. Things hit another low point when Musk had a public spat with Trump's senior trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Navarro dismissed Tesla as just a car assembler. Musk fired back by calling Navarro a moron on social media. That kind of response didn't help Musk's standing with other government leaders. It only made things more personal, more dramatic. And then there's Secretary of State Marco Rubio, one of Musk's most consistent critics. According to multiple reports, Rubio has privately referred to Musk as Crazy Uncle Elon, the kind of nickname that sticks, even if it's never said in front of cameras. So, here we are. Elon Musk, a man once celebrated for innovation and vision, now finds himself at odds with top figures in Washington. He's mocked in his home country and mistrusted in Canada. Whether it's a matter of politics, personality, or plain old burnout, Musk's world is starting to feel a lot smaller. And for someone who once wanted to conquer Mars, that's saying a lot. Do you think Tesla is going to lose its place in Canada for good? And if that happens, what might it mean for Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Effects of China tariffs increment on Tesla. Tariffs are once again at the center of a growing economic storm, and this time, analysts are worried they will hurt the electric vehicle industry. President Donald Trump has now set an effective 125% tariff on Chinese imports, threatening to impact global supply chains and raising market uncertainty. Citing a lack of respect, Trump set China apart from other countries. He said in a social media post that he is pausing his so-called reciprocal tariffs on many different trading partners because they had responded by reaching out for talks rather than retaliating. The tit-for-tat hikes between the U.S. and China are the latest in an ongoing trade war that threatens to raise consumer prices in America and derail China's attempts to reinvigorate its sluggish economy. The response from the Chinese government signals its determination not to bend to Trump's pressure, despite the risks. Analysts warn that these tariffs, if in place for an extended period, may disrupt supply chains, increase production costs, and significantly burden American automakers like Tesla, TSLA. Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives emphasizes that such tariffs would not only reduce Tesla's profitability, but could shift Chinese consumer preferences away from U.S. brands burdened by steep import costs. But that's just the beginning. As the trade war progresses, China has retaliated by increasing tariffs on their end, which caused Trump to pump the tariffs to 125%.
The U.S. President Donald Trump announces he's raising tariffs on Chinese goods to 125% with immediate effect.
Retaliatory tariffs by China on U.S. imports further strain trade relations between the two countries. Tesla domestically produces nearly all of its vehicles sold in China. However, the trade dispute has harmed Tesla's brand in China as it is a U.S. company. This has in turn led to consumers delaying purchases of more expensive items, such as Tesla's luxury autos, and opting for cheaper models. BYD, China's #1 automaker and Tesla's rival, appears to be benefiting massively as Tesla prepares to shut down its EV factory in China. As tariffs keep skyrocketing, Tesla has been forced to shift its supply chains and manufacturing away from China. While this might reduce dependency on tariffs, it would in turn lead to inefficiencies and higher operational costs. But where Tesla faces challenges, China's BYD sees opportunity. With its vertically integrated production model and groundbreaking innovations like 5-minute charging and a competitive price point, BYD is poised to benefit from tariffs that widen the cost gap between American and Chinese vehicles. Even without a U.S. presence, BYD's strategic advantages make it well-positioned for growth, which is a luxury Tesla can't afford. Regardless of the disadvantages of the tariff increment for Tesla, analysts are increasingly focused on BYD. Their prediction centers on the fact that prolonged tariffs against China could speed up its global expansion, especially in Europe, Mexico, and South America. Although for years Tesla has been the undisputed leader in electric vehicles, BYD is quickly challenging that dominance. And with Tesla's latest crisis, BYD might just end up taking the lead. The tariffs on Chinese EVs and battery materials would also pose significant challenges for Tesla as they rely on these materials for their production, both in China and elsewhere. The company's reliance on China as a critical growth market and production hub, combined with its vulnerability to cost increases and competition from local players like BYD, highlights the potential risks. These tariffs could drive Tesla to rethink its global supply chain while also squeezing its margins and reducing its competitive edge in price-sensitive markets. Additionally, the retaliatory tariffs from China could directly impact Tesla's ability to sustain its success in the world's largest EV market. Ultimately, while Tesla might weather these challenges by leveraging innovation and scaling its global operations, the broader EV industry could see slower adoption and increased market fragmentation due to the geopolitical tensions between the US and China. But what impact does this war have on China? Stay tuned as we further explore China's involvement in this trade war. China and US trade war escalates. What was supposed to be a historic, era-defining trade war launched by US President Donald Trump against a range of countries has,
Donald Trump is raising tariffs against China to 125% after China raised retaliatory tariffs on US goods to 84% overnight.
For now, narrowed in on a singular target: China. Trump announced a 3-month pause on all the reciprocal tariffs that had gone into effect hours earlier, with one exception, deepening a confrontation set to dismantle trade between the world's 2 largest economies. Then Beijing made good on its vow to bring in its retaliatory tariffs, and the pace of that escalation has been stunning. Over a week, Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports have jumped from 54% to 104%, and now 125%, which are figures that add to existing levies imposed before the president's second term. And China has retaliated in kind, raising additional retaliatory duties on all U.S. imports to 84%. The showdown sets up a historic rupture that will not only cause pain for both of these deeply intertwined economies, but add tremendous friction to their geopolitical rivalry. Nick Marrow, principal economist for Asia at the Economist Intelligence Unit, talked about the war and how it would affect the entire global trading landscape, referring to an outcome where the 2 economies have virtually no trade or mutual investment, but it doesn't end there. Trump appeared to link his decision not to grant China the same redemption as other nations to Beijing's swift retaliation. Talking to reporters, he mentioned that China wanted to make a deal, and they just didn't know how to go about it. However, the view from Beijing looks dramatically different from the scenario the president had painted. Chinese leader Xi Jinping, China's most powerful leader in decades, sees no option for his country to simply capitulate to what it calls America's unilateral bullying. Publicly, Beijing has drummed up fervent nationalism around its retaliation, part of a strategy it's been quietly preparing for more than 4 years since Trump was last in office. While China has long said it wants to talk, Trump's rapid escalation instead appears to have confirmed for Beijing that the U.S. doesn't. And in Xi's calculation, observers say, China is prepared not just to fight back, but to use Trump's trade turmoil to strengthen its position. Whether Trump would have suspended his so-called retaliatory tariffs on China alongside other nations had Beijing not moved so swiftly to retaliate remains an open question. Regardless, Trump, who the White House described earlier this week as having a spine of steel, and Xi now appear locked in a war of attrition with the potential to upset a lopsided but highly integrated trade relationship worth roughly $500 billion. For decades, China has been the world's factory floor, where increasingly automated and high-tech production chains churn out everything from household goods and shoes to electronics, raw materials for construction, appliances, and solar panels. Those factories satisfied the demand of American and global consumers for affordable goods, but fueled an enormous trade deficit and a feeling among some Americans, including Trump, that globalization has stolen U.S. manufacturing and jobs. Trump's ratcheting up of tariffs to well over 125% could now cut China's exports to the U.S.
China launching a retaliatory tariff of 125% against the United States starting Saturday, April 12th.
By more than half in the coming years, by some estimates. Many goods from China won't be able to be quickly replaced, driving up U.S. consumer prices, potentially for years, before new factories come online. In China, a wide swath of suppliers are likely to see their already narrow margins completely erased, with a new wave of efforts to establish factories in other countries set to begin. But this is far from all the consequences of this trade war. The result of the tariffs increment trade war on China. As the trade war between Trump, the United States, and China continues, all eyes remain glued on China, awaiting Xi Jinping's next move. Victor Xi, director of the University of California, San Diego's 21st Century China Center, spoke about the ongoing crisis in an interview with Fox News. According to Xi, the scale of the tariffs could lead to millions of people becoming unemployed and a wave of bankruptcy across China. Meanwhile, U.S. exports to China could also go close to zero, as the country might most likely eventually withdraw any form of relationship that initially existed between them. However, Shi believes the Chinese would be able to sustain themselves through the ordeal more so than the Americans would. Beijing, too, believes it can weather the storm. In response to U.S. tariffs, they spoke about being prepared with strategies to get them through the crisis. A spokesman for the Communist Party mouthpiece People's Daily mentioned how Beijing had engaged in a trade war with the U.S. for 8 years, accumulating rich experience in the struggles. He noted Beijing could make extraordinary efforts to boost domestic consumption, which has been persistently weak, and introduce other policy measures to support its economy. Keep watching, cause this next part will keep you glued to your screens. In the face of unknowns about how much further measures could escalate, voices from Beijing appear calm. Beijing, in recent weeks, has also been talking to countries from Europe to Southeast Asia in a bid to expand trade cooperation and one-up the U.S. by winning over American allies and partners exasperated by the on-again, off-again trade war. However, Beijing appears to be bracing for U.S. trade frictions since Trump's first trade war and his campaign against Chinese tech champion Huawei, which were a wake-up call to Beijing that its economic rise could be derailed if it wasn't prepared. The Chinese government has been preparing for this day for 6 years. They knew this was a possibility, said Xi in California, who added that Beijing had supported countries to diversify supply chains and looked to manage some of its domestic economic challenges in preparation, among other efforts. Today, China is much better placed to weather a broader trade conflict, experts say. Compared with 2018, China has expanded its trade relations with the rest of the world, reducing the share of U.S. exports from roughly 1/5 of its total to less than 15%. Its manufacturers have also set up extensive operations in third countries like Vietnam and Cambodia, in part to take advantage of potentially lower U.S. duties. China has also built out its supply chains for rare earths and other critical minerals, upgraded its manufacturing technology with AI and humanoid robots, and ramped up its advanced technology capabilities, including semiconductors. Since last year, the government has also worked, with varying success, to address issues like weak consumption and high local government debt. Scott Kennedy, a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies think tank in the U.S., pointed out that although China's weaknesses appear significant in the context of an all-out brawl, they are manageable. Kennedy believes the U.S. would not be able to, on its own, bring China's economy to the edge of destruction. And as much as Washington doesn't want to admit it, when China says the U.S. can't contain them economically, they have a point. As the war rages on with both President Donald Trump and Xi Jinping refusing to step down for the other, experts believe this trade war might just lead to a major recession, affecting not just the two countries majorly involved, but the entire world. With Trump doing what he feels is right, and China retaliating without as much as a second thought, will the trade war stop anytime soon, or will it eventually lead to a global crisis as experts warn? In a shocking courtroom drama, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg found themselves on the hot seat as Elon Musk unleashed a $1 billion lawsuit against them. The tension was palpable as Musk brought compelling evidence to the stand, claiming The View spread harmful lies about him.
Elon Musk took over Twitter, and the place it's a mess.
With emotions running high and legal stakes even higher, this explosive showdown could change everything we know about media accountability. Don't miss the details of this sensational case that has everyone talking. Elon Musk's $1 billion lawsuit. In one of the most talked about legal battles of the year, Elon Musk has filed a staggering $1 billion lawsuit against popular talk show hosts Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg from The View. The lawsuit stems from accusations that the show spread false and damaging information about him, sparking a fierce debate over media responsibility and free speech. Musk claims that Bahar and Whoopi made unverified statements that not only harmed his reputation, but also affected his business ventures.
I've been saying it for a while.
Yes, you have.
I've been saying that I think Elon Musk believes he's president.
In court, he presented what he called receipts, including social media posts and clips from The View that he argues support his case. The evidence left many in the courtroom shocked as Musk aimed to illustrate the real impact of their words. As the case unfolded, emotions ran high. Bahar and Whoopi were visibly shaken, facing the weight of Musk's serious allegations. The lawsuit has not only captivated the public, but has also ignited discussions about the ethical responsibilities of media personalities. Should they be more careful with their words, especially when discussing public figures? The stakes are enormous, as a victory for Musk could mean a record payout and set a new standard for how media figures can speak about one another. Supporters of Musk see this as a fight against media bias, while others worry it might chill free speech. As the trial continues, all eyes are on this landmark case that could reshape the media landscape forever. Receipts presented in court. In a courtroom drama that has everyone buzzing, Elon Musk took center stage by presenting what he called receipts to support his $1 billion lawsuit against Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg of The View. These receipts aren't your typical shopping slips. They include a collection of social media posts, video clips, and interviews that Musk claims show the hosts making untrue and damaging statements about him. As Musk laid out his evidence before the judge, the atmosphere in the courtroom shifted. The audience watched in suspense as clips from The View played, revealing moments where Bahar and Whoopi made bold claims about Musk and his business practices.
The world's richest man, Elon Musk, has full access to the U.S. Treasury federal payment system, and Democrats are ringing the alarm bell.
Musk argued that these statements were not just harmless opinions, but could seriously affect his reputation and career. Both Bahar and Whoopi appeared visibly shaken as Musk's legal team dissected their comments, highlighting how they could mislead the public. The tension was palpable as Musk's lawyers emphasized the responsibility that comes with having a platform and the potential consequences of spreading misinformation. This presentation of evidence has sparked a fierce debate, not just about Musk's case, but about the broader implications for media figures. Should they be more cautious with their words? As the trial continues, the focus on these receipts has turned it into a pivotal moment in the conversation surrounding media accountability and the influence of talk shows. It's not just about Musk. It's about how we communicate and share information in today's world. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You will enjoy it.